This is Scott Hamilton, and hopefully you're in the right webinar about how to dominate the divorce market in your community. Um, we're trying a little Monday afternoon time slot to see how that works, and hopefully trying to capture some West Coast people. We'll see how that goes. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. Um, Happy to stop at any point during the presentation to address any kind of thoughts or comments that you might have. Probably go about 30 minutes today. And yeah, so let's dive in. In case you don't know, I'm a coach for Pareto Systems. I've done this kind of work with advisors for a little over 10 years. Before that, I sold life insurance to rich people. And before that, I was a tax planning lawyer. Got into Pareto kind of later in life after I've had a couple of good careers. And love what I do, love working with financial advisors. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic thing. Um, I probably work with, at any given time, around 30 teams, some individuals, but mostly teams. And over the last year or two, I've also focused on niche marketing, not just divorce, but all sorts of potential niches for people. But I'd say that I don't want to say it's my favorite, like my favorite kid, but my favorite niche definitely is divorce. When I started in law practice, I was a divorce lawyer. I worked for a divorce firm for a couple of years. Um, Turns out I took a different direction, but certainly it was great opportunity to help a lot of people. And a lot of that knowledge, of course, is still with me, and I bring it to this niche focus. So again, I've got kind of a presentation I'm going to do, but if you have comments or questions, I'd love to chat with you. Just unmute yourself and jump in. Okay. I'm going to start out by talking about the idea that I think this is an awesome opportunity. Anybody on the line who's already in this niche, I think knows that. Anybody thinking about this niche, I can pretty much assure you that there's a place for you. I've been working with multiple advisors who have been expanding in this niche over the last couple of years. I've been with an advisor for a number of years coaching them, and they've decided to go into this niche. We started working on it maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago. They've already picked up 2 clients, probably totaling about 5 million in assets as a result of really starting to target this niche. So I know that there's a lot of opportunity here. I've done this with multiple advisors now. One of the interesting things that I learned when I started doing some research for a white paper in this area is the fastest growing demographic in this area being gray divorce. So people like me or, in my generation who are, whatever, taking a look at their lives and looking at their marriages and deciding it's not for them. Apparently, according to the stats, this is just a rapidly growing area, which means there's a lot of need for financial advisors to help people get good advice as they're going through this process. There's not a lot of competition. I'm not sure why that is. I think there are some reasons like fear of missing out. So, for example, the advisor I talked about today, I said, if you want to go into this, make your website look like you're into it. And he goes, well, what about all the other people? And I said, yeah, this is a problem. This is the fear of missing out. And, I can just assure you, based on my experience with other advisors, that if you focus, that you're not going to miss out. In fact, you're going to have a better business, and you're going to have more opportunity than you could think of. So, I think that plenty of opportunity here. So, in general, where do I see, after coaching for 10 years, coaching advisors with $100 million in assets, my largest team has about $9 billion in assets. So across that spectrum, where do I see people struggle? And struggling is like obviously it's a relative term. Somebody who's got $1 million in production, may not be struggling, but if they want to grow, if they want to continue to scale, then what kind of things do they run into? And the first thing is no real growth strategy. So I run a mastermind group with advisors who are at $1 million in production who want to get to 2 million as fast as possible. And one of the reasons they joined is because they said kind of unanimously, hey, here's the thing. We don't know where our next client's coming from. We wake up and someday we get a client and someday we don't. We have no real way of knowing that's going to happen. And so we need a growth strategy. And well, niche marketing is a growth strategy. Divorce as a niche is a growth strategy. There are, of course, many others, but you're all here on a divorce one. That's a clear growth strategy where you can actually start to know what's coming down the road. You can plan for it. One of the next things holding people back, generic marketing. Okay, I don't know how many times I've seen websites that all look the same. They probably all come from FMG or somebody like that, which is, again, I'm not trying to down FMG. I'm just saying they all look the same. There's no differentiation. There's nothing that makes me go, I want to go there. So, and it's the same with the marketing, the LinkedIn posts, the Facebook posts, they're all the same. They all, in my view, many of them, if not all of them, miss the mark because they're generic. They don't appeal to anybody. Capacity and systems is another area that holds people back. Pareto systems is a formalized system for helping advisors build capacity and systems. So, I'm very familiar. I use Pareto systems every day in my coaching. But it is one of the things that holds people back. If you get to 100 million, right, you're busy. You're busy all the time. You don't have time for growth. And you don't know where to go next. So building capacity is definitely something that's holding advisors back. And then the last one, imposter syndrome. I don't know if anybody suffers this. I certainly have and probably still do. Like, this is the idea that, you're good, but there's somebody better. Okay, well, I'm telling you, you're good. There isn't that many people who are better. They're probably not in your community. And if you simply follow the kind of growth strategies we're talking about, you'll have so much transactional experience. You'll be the best in your neighborhood. Okay, this is I guess it's a case study. This is an advisor I work with. A lot of the same things I just talked about. I'm not going to try and repeat them all. This is an advisor who wanted to get into divorce, had worked in divorce, had been successful, had a couple relationships with attorneys. But again, you wouldn't know it. The website was a picture of big buildings in a big city. Nothing said I work with divorcing women. And although he had developed a process to work generally with financial planning clients, he didn't have anything he could show anybody about what his process was for working with divorcing women. And as a result, referrals were not as predictable, not as consistent as they should have been. This person's very talented. You give him a woman going through a divorce, and he and his team are fantastic at working with them. So what do we need to do? Okay, one, organize. Get systems so that as they took people in, there was a process, and they could run that process every time so that they could spend their time finding out what the women they were working with really wanted out of life. They could spend time where it mattered, not trying to recreate systems every time somebody came in. Positioning as the local divorce planning expert. This is very important. You can go halfway on this. You can say, well, I do business exit planning and I do divorce planning, and I have certifications in both. You can do it, but I can just tell you it's not going to be as effective as if you put your stake in the ground and just say, this is what I do. I'm the best in the area. And as a result of saying that, many, many more people are going to be attracted to you. So again, it's a choice. I understand why you might try and manage two niches or manage one niche and some general practice. But I mean, it's a conversation we can obviously have. But in my experience, you're way better off cutting to the chase and just being really clear about who you are and what you do. For this particular advisor, that's what we did. And again, I don't want to act like there was no trepidation on their part. There was. Okay, they're like, well, can I still take an exit planning case? I'm like, if you want to, but what's that going to do to your process? Like, you don't have an exit planning process. You have a divorce process. So I think gradually over time, he was able to see his way clear into devoting himself to this niche. And now, I mean, he's got a very predictable pipeline and he knows where his business is coming from. And he can call and have a conversation with the lawyers and say, hey, what's new? What's happening? What's going on? What kind of new clients are you working with? Is there anything coming my way? What should I be prepared for? So again, he's got a very, very nice growth strategy here. Okay. And again, this is totally replicable. This is just one example, but I've done this with advisors multiple times. So it's, you know, if you're interested in this or if you're already doing it and you want to see if you can up your game, I'm almost certain that there's opportunity for you. Okay, so as we're going through this, this is about masterminds, and I have a divorce mastermind going now where people are working together, comparing notes, comparing ideas, but we also have a framework for this mastermind group. And this is the framework I would suggest to anybody. First of all, make sure you know who you want to work with. So again, fear of missing out. Well, I want to work with everybody going through a divorce. Okay, probably not. Again, I'm going to say this probably multiple times today because it's true. It's hard to believe, but it's true. The narrower you can get, the better. Because the people who are fit that narrowness are looking for you. It's like when you want to get, you know, if you, I don't, nobody wants to get heart surgery, but if you have to get heart surgery, right, you don't want to go to a bone doctor. You want to go to a heart surgeon, right? And you're going to seek out who is the best heart surgeon. So making sure you know who your ideal client is and define it demographically, define it economically. I would strongly, you know, suggest that people focus on women going through divorce because I'm not trying to be sexist here, but it's oftentimes the case that men going through divorce already have an advisor, so they're not really looking for one. Women going through divorce oftentimes are wanting to move away from their husband's advisor, and they need a new advisor. They need someone that they can feel like is their own. So defining your ideal client, critical. And again, that can be economic, like what kind of, do we want to work with high net worth women? Do we want to work with women who are getting divorced from people who worked in corporations and have their own particular problems with quadros and taxes and all that stuff? I don't probably know about all that anymore than you probably know more than I do about that. But in any event, you want to be definite about who your ideal client is so you can communicate it to the people who want to refer business to you. And again, the narrower you can get, the better. Okay, next thing, systems and process. You all have systems and processes now, even if they're not documented. They may be somewhat repeatable. They may be a lot repeatable, but my recommendation is if they are, let's write them down. Turn them into a piece that you can show referral sources. This is our repeatable process. This is how we do it. Having this repeatable process is a benefit because it allows us to spend time, as I mentioned earlier, on the important issues and not trying to decide whether we need to ACAT money in the third meeting or the second meeting or the first meeting, or, you know, maybe whatever, whenever. Maybe it's, you know, maybe they don't have any money until after the divorce. And so that's how your process works. Okay, but organizing with systems. And here's just a quick tip. There's a great book. It's written by the founder of Pareto Systems, whose name is Duncan McPherson. That book is called The Advisor Playbook. And you can get it on Audible, or you can get it on Kindle, or you can get it in hard copy from Amazon. And it is just loaded with tips on how to organize. So, I've had lots of one-on-one clients who have read the book and then, come in to coaching because they just need the accountability. But if you're accountable and you actually do the things you say you're going to do, you can get a ton out of that book. So for like $20 or $25, you'll get a huge amount of information. And if you implement it, I guarantee it'll improve your business, regardless of what business you're in, as long as it's the advice business. Okay, next thing, create a client fit process. Again, nothing will mess up a business more than clients who are not a good fit for your process. Once you go through all this work of defining your ideal client and communicating who your ideal client is and building and organizing your systems and your processes around that person, the worst thing you can do is take somebody who's not a good fit for that. Because that takes you, it takes your team out of the process, and all of a sudden, you're spending time researching or looking up issues that have nothing to do with where your expertise is. So make sure that you can weed out those people. And a lot of times it's in our heads, right? Like, I don't want to talk about this for too long, but a lot of times we just like getting a new client. But if you're trying to build a scalable business, a business that can operate without you at some point in the future, or maybe not without you, but even just where you're just doing the parts you really like, then accepting clients that fit your process is critical. Okay, market with clarity, same thing. Once we know who it is, what our systems are, what our ideal client fit process looks like, we want to market that. We want to tell everybody. Anybody in the world is a potential influencer, because almost anybody in the world knows somebody who's going through a divorce and somebody who might need our help. So telling everybody is critical. It's not just like lawyers, it's not just accountants, but everybody. It's service providers, it's other strategic partner prospects. So we want to market to everybody and build strategic partnerships. So this is all about relationship. Like, let's learn who the influences are, the mediators, the other divorce professionals, certainly the divorce lawyers, the people who are consistently looking for and getting new clients. We want to build deep relationships with them, and not just a drive-by. One of the guys I work with, he's like, I'm really good at meeting people, but I'm terrible at following up. Okay, so having a strategy, not just to open a strategic partnership, but a strategy to continue that relationship, to deepen it, to perpetuate it, is also critical. Okay, a lot of what I've got on the slides here, I apparently have just talked about, but a couple things here. Define your ideal client. So, actually, no, I already talked about it. We don't need to do that again. Okay, I talked about this briefly. I want to come back to it. This, I don't know if this is going to sound familiar to you, but it's certainly familiar with me. This happened to me all the time. I would have a great idea. I would work on it for a couple weeks, and then something else would come along and take my attention. And so I would stop working on it. Even though it was a great idea, even though it would ultimately result in business, for whatever reason, I just got distracted. So one of the things you want to do is build accountability into your niche marketing. All right. This could be with a teammate. It could be with a partner. It could be, you could hire a coach. You could join a mastermind group, whatever it is, but you want to have some way to stay accountable. So you say to yourself, hey, by the end of March, I will have written down the 3 things I look for in an ideal client. And then tell your team, hey, at our team meeting at the end of March, or if you don't have a team, tell somebody, tell your spouse, at the end of March, I am going to have my ideal client profile written down, and I'm going to start using it. I'm going to have it memorized, whatever. You need accountability. A lot of people need accountability. So you need to put a system together. Mastermind group is a great way to do it. People show up, hold each other accountable, set goals every month. Okay, that's a great way and a pretty cost-effective way of doing it. One-on-one coaching, much more expensive, also effective, but find a way to do this, okay? Second thing, peer community. I know that at some firms, there are groups of people who have gotten certifications, whether it's CDFA or CD, Certified Business Exit Planning. I can't remember what it is. CEPA, yeah, Certified Exit Planners, right? There are some other designations too. A lot of those come with peer community. So you want to, in my experience, your growth is going to be faster if you're talking to other people who are in the same business. So if you're not in a study group, you might want to create one. If you don't want to create one, you might want to join a mastermind group. But you want to be with other people who are like going at their business in a common way. Because what you're going to learn from them is they've done things, they've looked at things, they've failed at things that you haven't. And by the same token, you've tried things, you've succeeded at some, you've failed at others. That kind of sharing is it's like a catapult for growth, right? You could just grow much faster. I can tell you a quick story, mastermind group that I have for divorce going right now. One of the guys in that group is a lawyer, was a lawyer before he became an advisor. And one of the other attendees in the group, a woman from California who does divorce as a niche, said to him, "Hey, are you in your local bar association's family law group?" And he was. He was. And he actually attended meetings and he met people there. She said, "Why don't you become the president or lead that section for the bar?" He said, "Well, I don't know if I can do that." She said, "Well, why don't you ask?" Because in my local bar, there's an advisor who's the head of the section. So he did. And now he's the head of the section. So he's organizing he's organizing the meetings, the speakers, very high profile in his community now. And all it was because of Mastermind, somebody saying, "Hey, you should try this." And he did it. So however you build your peer community, that will be just a 10xer for growth. So join one, like if you're in a wirehouse, some of them I know have divorce groups inside them. But again, I think the CDFA may also have some study group opportunities. And again, I'm on here talking about mastermind groups because I know how powerful they are. So if you're interested in joining a mastermind, then I'd love to talk to you about that. But it's not the only way to do this. So try and find a peer community to get into, however you do it. And then systems and templates, okay, again, read Duncan's book. That's a $20 way to get a lot of the information that I think you need. If you can combine that with an accountability structure, I think that's a real win for you. If you join the mastermind group, you also get access to all the Pareto systems material, which are videos, templates. A lot of those templates I've actually redone for the divorce group. So there's some opportunity there. And I think the price of the mastermind group is the same price Pareto charges just for access. So anyways, I am trying to sell the mastermind group because I know how cool it is. But again, whatever fits your budget, whatever fits your time. Here I am struggling with the technology. Too bad AI can't run this meeting for me. It can't rake leaves either, by the way. You probably know that. Okay. The mastermind group, I want to tell you just a little bit about it. I've been in mastermind groups pretty much my whole professional career, and they were a real accelerant for me. I probably could not have worked selling insurance to rich people the way that I did without my mastermind group. They were just a huge boost to me in terms of accountability, knowledge, referrals. Yeah, it was great. So I'm a firm believer in some kind of a community that you can join. Okay, we have regular meetings in this group. Again, if you're interested, we meet for about an hour and a half every 4 weeks. We have a private group chat. We have a a monthly office hours where people can come in. And as I mentioned, all of the Pareto material in Total Client Engagement and Strategic Partners is available, which is just a huge wealth of material. And that's all included in the mastermind price. So, and we use it. We use the templates, we use the scripts, we use a lot of the Pareto materials in our mastermind group as part of the structure that I talked about earlier. Okay, what do we focus on in the mastermind group? All the things I've talked about. Creating compelling marketing excellence, process optimization. So like, how do we build the best divorce process all the way from prospect to onboard, all the way through the ongoing, which is, the ongoing service model, which is what's the best way to continue to service people? How do we build templates? How do we build structure? How do we build proactivity into that process so we're not being reactive and we're much more organized and we're much more streamlined? And then for those who are interested, which I admit is not everybody, but we also do talk about how to continue to scale and grow the practice for those who are interested into a self-managing business model. So I've already got a number of advisors I've coached in this direction who are basically cutting back on all the things that they do except for what they love. I have one advisor whose goal, he's not quite there yet, but his goal is to spend most of his year sailing between Key West and Aruba and back. That's his goal, stopping at islands along the way. Okay, he wants to build a business where he doesn't have to show up unless he really wants to. So we do all those things in our mastermind. We spend less time sailing to Aruba than we do on these other things. But again, this is an attractive proposition for some advisors to get out of the business at some point and continue to have income from a business that can run itself. Okay, things to think about, like I know these masterminds aren't for everybody. I know they're for a relatively small number of people. If you're interested in divorce, obviously that would be one thing to join the mastermind group. If you're looking to improve new client flow, and I know almost everybody's interested in new client flow, like one of the guys I work with says, sure, everybody wants new client flow. And then if you ask them, like, what are they willing to do for it? The answer is not much. There is work involved in this, as you can imagine. That's the accountability part that you get out of the mastermind group, is because obviously, the way that you're going to improve yourself is through change and through work. It takes time to get to where you want to be and some attention. And so sometimes it's easier not to do things than to make the change. So having the accountability is important to new client flow. More effective marketing. We have marketing people who come in and talk at these groups on how to actually do video, that's compelling, how to make sure your website's compelling, how to make sure that your posts are compelling. So making sure that you're doing the most effective marketing possible. And then again, if you're ready to scale, even if you're not ready to scale, even if you just want to spend time in your business doing the most important things and having other folks do things that are important but probably don't require your level of skill, then a mastermind group also can be good for you. All right, what's the cost? We charge $500 a month. I'm really looking for people who are into this for true growth. I say there's a 12-month commitment. It's actually a month-to-month deal with Pareto. But think about this as like a change in your career, like a big change and a big change in success level. I've seen people, who are making $1.5 million a year go into a niche and turn that into $2 million, $2.5 million, right? So there's always room to get better. There's always room to make more money, always room to serve more or better clients. One of the guys I work with is like, I don't want the money goal. He's like, what I want to know is that I'm helping 500 ideal client families. I don't want to serve them all myself, but I want to know that I can grow a business that can do that. I think that the opportunity to help that many people have success in life is the goal I really can aspire to. So whatever the goal is, right? I mean, go into this with the idea that if you hate it, good, you can get out. But if you like it, I'd love to see you stay in it for at least a year. Okay, what else? Anything else I want to talk about here? Yeah, we have geographic exclusivity for whatever that's worth. I really haven't run into this, but clients are kind of national now. Most advisors have clients everywhere, so I don't know exactly what that means. But in terms of the niche, if you're in a small town, I'm not going to take somebody else who's in a small town, in the same small town. If you're in New York City, I probably would have a conversation with you if somebody else from New York City wants to get into the group. But that's really not a problem at the moment. I don't see it being a problem in the near term. Okay. Endorsements, lots of endorsements. Like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't want to say that I've gotten pretty good at it, but I've gotten pretty good at it. And a lot of the people I work with have had a lot of success following both Pareto systems advice and the experience that I bring to the table. Okay, I'm going to stop because I'm near the end. If you want to take the next step, then you can see the scan code on here, or you can just email me, or we're going to send out an email when this is over. If you want to watch the replay, you can watch it. I'm also going to send a worksheet to you about getting started that others have found helpful, and also a way to sign up. So if you sign up, it's a 30-minute call. I will spend time with you trying to understand what you're trying to do. I'll answer any individual questions you might have about Mastermind, and then whatever you decide, you decide. But I am like a complete believer in the Mastermind process. It's why I spent my time and my own money marketing this. I had plenty of clients at Pareto. Pareto's overwhelmed with clients, to be quite honest. But I totally love the idea of the Mastermind group, and I have a passion for it. I know how good it can make people, so I just want to. That's why I'm doing this. I could probably just sit back and just take on clients from Pareto, but there's something special about these groups. I have 3 groups running now, and I just can't believe the progress that people are making. It's fantastic. I don't think I could get them to quit if I asked them to. So again, I'll leave it up to you all to decide what you want, but I'm going to just stop, see if there's any questions. I think you can just unmute yourself. If you want to ask me a question, I'm happy to take questions. I do have some questions on the screen here. I think I shut it off. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've answered most of these. How quickly will you attract clients? Look, that could happen in 30 days. It could happen in 3 years. It's largely a question of how much do you put into this. Why is that disappearing? Anyways, like I said, I have had advisors who immediately start working on this, immediately go out, talk to the right people, fake it till they make it, and get clients right away. So there's no reason why that can't happen to anyone. They're not doing anything special except they're just working the system. Can I do this by myself? Yeah, you can do this by yourself. I totally believe you can do it by yourself. But if you do it by yourself, get the book that I mentioned earlier and see if you can find a study group or an accountability partner that's going to hold your feet to the fire. The biggest thing about change is it's hard and it takes courage, right? So having support is, in my view, it's critical to keep you going in the right direction. Okay, again, you can use the scan code. You can follow up with the email. I don't hear anybody asking questions, so with that, I'm going to turn everybody loose. Thank you very much for attending. Oh, wait a minute. What's the name of the book I'm recommending? Oh, hi, Marianne. How are you?
Hey, Scott. Good. Thank you.
The name of the book is called The Advisor Playbook.
Okay.
It's a must-read for advisors who want to get better. Absolutely. No matter what you do. Fantastic book. $25. It'll be so worth it.
Great. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. Well, anybody who has questions, there'll be an opportunity to follow up. Thanks a lot for attending, and I will hopefully talk to you soon. Bye-bye.